So this is an Emerald 4 EUS game, Sona. So it's Ez Sona versus Varus Milio. Junglers are Hecarim versus Sejuani as well. I think overall they might be a little bit more aggressive early. They should have this slight laning advantage down here. I don't think much will happen though. I feel like this is a game where you're probably looking to get your Q off as much as possible during the laning phase to generate golds, get some mana flow band stacks, and get some gold generation going. I don't think much will be happening here.
Minions have spawned.
Are you not intrigued?
I mean, one thing when I play in Sona, at least I like doing a Q or two at the fountain just to build up your passive a tiny bit more, so you can get the power chord proc out a little bit quicker. Okay, I mean it's a good Q. So you're gonna get like level 2 first, but you know level 2 advantage on Sona isn't with an Ezra isn't really anything. Yeah, my main concern here for you already is like, you know, this lane's already going to be pushed in. It's going to be difficult for you to get Q stacks. So, like, are you able to hit the turret? In this case, no. But you do kind of need to reach out a little bit more for Q. It's nice that you go for that one, but you could have probably done like at least one more by now. Main concern here also now is that you got no wards on your bot side. Not sure. Both of you may have used wards. I'm not sure what. Oh, we warded that brush. You warded this brush here. Whose ward's this? I wasn't paying attention to that. Okay, that was your ward. Yeah, I'd say like. You're not. I don't. You don't die, right? Against these guys in the 2v2. Like you'd have to do an insane, gross, overextended misplay in order to even die here. If I were you, I'd just be more concerned about River, making sure that you got vision. This ward, whoever put this ward down here, I think is the Ezreal. It's a good ward. And then like as that starts to expire, then you want to make sure you got your River covered. Otherwise, if you what sometimes happens is like AD carries use their ward in bot lane, and then like if you use yours as well quite early on, then and you're going to be, if you aren't going to end up pushing in, then you got nothing here for vision. So just do be careful about the warding situation and wards on both of you to make sure that you're not getting pushed in from the river from any angle, because you know, it's Sejuani's top side, but we didn't know that right at the start. Like she could be coming in from like mid, and then I don't know. I mean, this ward here tells you a lot, but you're gonna be then expecting Sejuani to be down here around about level 3-ish, depending on how much of a full clear she does, right? So do keep in mind like the truck in the ward situation. And your Q poke here is fine, you're doing alright. There's not much you can do. You're just literally all you're doing here is just stacking. Yeah, this is just normal Sona gameplay right now. No real power chord usage. Okay, this is starting. Okay, this is what I'm kind of looking for here. Yeah, a little bit panicky on the W. Like, because W is so expensive on the mana cost, I wouldn't, even if Milio's Q was coming through here, and if that lands, like, I wouldn't bother Wing, because it's too much on your mana. It's, how much is it again? 80 mana. It's really, really nasty cost. I would refrain this early on with no mana regeneration and stuff like that. I would be refraining from Wing as much as possible, unless it was like an intense like kind of clash, or you're looking to do like switching into your W in order to do a power chord W. I think this is probably like the first mistake here. Like mechanical mistake. It's a good double Q. Like there would be nice to have your W because you're definitely going to be receiving a lot of burst damage going like that deep in for a Q. You get chunked pretty heavily there. But you still kind of want to relax. I don't know what this pathing is here. This pathing here is confusing me. Like once you've done your stuff, everything here at this point is on cooldown, right? You've done your Q, W, E. I don't know why you're like going up and down. Up here, is it because of the river fight? But I just feel like you can't even look for that because this just puts you in a horrendous position, right? Don't forget Media's E gives movement speed and they can better chase you up into the river. So like you're not gonna be able to like Sona in the bot lane, like you don't, the junglers gonna have to understand that they don't really have lane prio. Sona can't offer that much this early on into the game, into laning phase, right? Yeah, no, you're really far behind now in terms of resource. Okay, yeah. So I think at this point you need to acknowledge like you're really far behind the resources. You just need to take it down a little bit. You can't look for Q poke now because you are in like a kill range now. You just have to play it back. Like you can't really look for this kind of stuff because the amount of burst that Varus does have, especially when he activates his W. Yeah, this is like the right movement here from the Varus. Completely, he's doing absolutely the right thing here. I think Midio could have probably done a bit more to assist up the Varus. But yeah, like here you're out of mana, you're looking for a reset at some point, right? And so is the Ezreal. I think this wave is building up quite a lot, so once this wave is pushed out, you just reset. That's what I would do. Don't look to be too aggressive, just help auto attack these minions and then just look for the reset window. Like, this wave now, it would have to be. Reset after this wave, 100%. I wouldn't even look for roaming at this point. Like, you just need to get back and like, there's nothing here worth doing. Like, even this ward isn't even worth it. You just need to reset as quickly as possible. I would say, like, if you're gonna ward on recall, ward this brush, right? Because that ward doesn't tell you if the Sejuani comes down the river and just hides in this brush anyway. Because that kind of ward there when you're recalling is like, okay, am I going to get ganked when I come back in straight into lane? Is like the jungler going to be waiting in the river or whatever for when I come back down? So you're already cutting like half the value of the ward anyway, because by the time you get into the lane, half the ward duration's off anyway. But like, I wouldn't say that that's necessarily a great ward to do either. It's like at this point here, for example, like, you know, the Varus isn't here, so you can then look to going into this brush area with your flash coming back off cooldown. The worst case is that you have the flash, but it's extremely unlikely that Sejuani is waiting in this brush after Varus needing to recall. So this is just kind of a standard kind of, honestly, one of the more, like, you know, when you're watching it, it's fucking boring, but when you're playing it, it's a little bit more chess decision making. I think it's fine here to help assist the Hecarim. You got mid lane pressure. Just gotta understand though that you could have to bail on this pretty quickly. Yeah. I think you can get these berries here. Yeah, goods. Okay, I'm watching power chords here. It's really difficult to see it on the skin. Alright. The main thing on Sona at this point, especially when you're at this ELO, is you gotta do the right power chords. Okay. I think you do power chord W, which is fine. I would... Yeah, I probably would too. It would be tempting to do power chord E though as well, because it's like, if the Ezra was able to take a little bit more part of that fight there, then it'd be more about keeping the Varus pinned down, but because of the amount of burst that the Varus has there, I don't think you actually did anything wrong there at all. I think power chord W is the right call. Yeah, you can't look for a kill there. That just really sucks. You know that the Varus is recording now here, so here you should be... Okay. So, situation sucks. Varus has to recall. There's no way he stays in lane in that amount of HP. You now need to push in this wave as quickly as possible in order for Ezra and yourself to get a recall back, basically. So that's what you should be doing here right now. You should be hitting these minions. Like, doing the trade on minion there is fine to get the gold and stuff, but you also need to be pushing in the wave. I think going for turret here is okay, but then you need to zoom back real quick. I don't think you can look for this wave. Then we're entering into iffy territory, because you don't know if the jungle is necessarily going to be down at this point. So that I'd say that's a little bit risky, like low risk, but it's still risk element there. Because the Varus is 6 and you're not, so you're just gonna have to be. Don't get caught by Varus ulti. Like here at this point, looking for trades is really dangerous. Okay. Okay, your ulti just came back up, but you gotta be like, you gotta be mindful of if you get caught here, what are the odds here of your AD carry gonna be able to get you out of a bad situation? And it's Ezreal. Ezreal can't do much here. You just gotta be really, really, really careful and respectful of ultis at this point, and you just have to take it slow still. Can I give a quick rundown of what power chords when to use on Sona? So power chord Q is like primarily in lane, but like very early levels in laning phase when you're looking to like just poke. Power chord W is a mini exhaust, so the same situations where you would use exhaust is the same situations that you would use your power chord W. And then E is basically peel or try to just catch someone off. So this is a slow. So you'd use your slow. Like in that previous gank situation with the Hecarim, slow would be good if Ezra wasn't low HP, because it would mean that the Varus would have to like, he wouldn't be able to necessarily get away at all, even after flashing, because he'd be slowed down by so much. But because Ezra was low HP, you needed the power chord W to try and win the 2v2 fight, because it wasn't actually weighted in massively in their favor, the Sona players' favor. What are we doing here in build? It's here. Okay. Yeah, so you know all those different situations where I said like, you know, you haven't had this river area really covered properly. I think, I mean, Sejuani I think does get spotted here, which is a shame that you actually, does that miss the, wow, that doesn't actually catch. Sejuani actually dodges that ward, I think. Yeah, wow, Sejuani actually dodged that ward. But yeah, you need to be careful about being here with no vision, because this has happened 2 or 3 times now. So it's just a little bit too now you're finally getting punished for overextending. And also the poke that I told you about earlier when you were poking about here, how you just need to respect that the Varus is 6. That's come back to bite you here, I think. I think that's what's happened, right? Varus, you come in for a Q poke and the Varus just ults you. Yeah, it's just, you gotta respect, like, you know, you gotta respect what the enemy ultis are that are gonna catch you out and make you die, right? Once Varus hits 6, you can't go in. It's like the same, like, I don't know. Like, if the enemy had Ezreal, you could do this, right? And get away with it as long as their support didn't have any crowd control like this. But this is, like, too much. Like, because you ult here, it doesn't do anything, and then you flash, yeah. Because in that is a really awkward situation, because you can't ult the Varus because melee just ults and then cleanses your ulti, right? So like in this situation, your ulti, it can also be a tool to kind of get out of these situations as well. But like melee just cancels your. So if you ult melee, then Varus is still free to hit and stuff. It's just a really trash situation. Like what I'd say is, it's like for in this example here, right? Like I know you're desperate for gold stacks and stuff, but like at some point you just have to kind of just, you're almost at 500, right? You just need to just, once you're at 500, you can kind of just chill. Generally, like it's okay to not be quite completed your ward off, right? Like here, when the lane is like this, and you got, especially when you got like an, you shouldn't be in front of your AD carry, really, I would say. Especially when your AD carry is a dash. Because if your AD carry gets caught off a Varus ulti, A, he can try and arcane shift out of it if he's quick enough. And B, if he does get locked down with the ulti, he can then still try and arcane shift, flash if he has it, to get away. You shouldn't put yourself in a position where you're the one that's going to be tanking the ulti because you're just way too squishy. You're way too squishy and you have no escape. So by the time you get locked down by Varus, the amount of damage that's going to be bursted through is just going to be way too high. So with the lack of vision in combination with disrespecting Varus ulti, you die there. Yeah.
Shut down.
Okay, I mean, I like this movement here. I like it. Because it's like, you know the enemy mid laner is like dying or getting pursued or whatever. Worst case is that you might end up having Sejuani around here, but you should be fine. Like the odds of you being hit here are so low that it's like, it's fine. It's good vision, like ward coverage there, I like it a lot. Okay, now you have an interesting situation. Now you can do stuff. Okay, so Varus whiffs his ulti. Now it's your turn, okay? When your ulti comes back off cooldown, now you can start looking for plays. Now you're free to doing your Q poke, right, in order to get gold generation and stuff like that. This is when you're like, this is when you're allowed now to poke. Like you're not poking for damage at this point. You're poking just for like gold and mana flow band stacks if you need it. Like at this point, I think the mid is walking over rewards, so you need to be looking to be a little bit more aggressive in your stance in bot lane rather than holding so far back. Like once, like I'm just trying to figure out what you got. Ward. You got ward here, right? Hey Log Championship, thank you for the prime sub. Welcome to the Berry Bush. So this mini is walking over one of your wards, right? You can see him here. At this point, I'd be thinking like, how can I get to a point where we can exploit this? Like, there's nothing that you can do to counter this mid roam in terms of like chasing after him. But what can you do bot side to get some sort of advantage around here, right? At best, at worst, you're looking at just trying to find if there's any control wards here to get rid of them. So in this case, there's one in the river, and you'd be like, you'd be edging up. If the Varus backs away, then then you have free reign to check the brushes and see if there's control wards. You just get rid of those, right? Because that's your brush now. If Varus looks to play aggressive, then you use your tools. You use your ulti over him. Maybe you use a power chord slow to help pick him off, and you look to punish this roam, right? Well, it's too late for me to go there, but I'm still afraid of the Varus after the death. I think at that point, like, it's 2v1 and the midi is not there, and the reason why Varus is particularly scary is, okay, his ulti is like, and burst is quite high, right? But one of the tools that you have to try and get yourself out of that situation is nullified by mini ulti. Because he can just cleanse your ult, right? But because he's not there, you got a free stun, and you can also do your free either power chord W or power chord E, depending on how it kind of plays out. If he pushes forward towards you, then you're probably doing power chord W to reduce the damage coming through to make yourself tankier. If he's looking to run away, then it's power chord E to help your Ezreal like hunt him down, right? That's what you should be doing here at this moment. Like if you really wanted to, you could like, you could path up here into this brush, checking for a control ward. If there's no control ward, or if the Varus is still overextended like this, you could gank your own lane, right? You could affect it. That's like one way how you can just get into this situation, right? But that was like a small window of opportunity to maybe potentially do something to punish the Varus. But yeah, now you can't see the melee or the Sejuani, so now it's a bit too risky. I like keep pathing up here with the Hecarim. It's a giga face check though. Like, I don't like this fight. I don't like actually committing to this fight here though overall. Because if you look at the positioning of your teammates, like look where they are. And then also, it's worth tabbing to checking to seeing like, you know, does their top laner have a teleport? Is that available to them? It's hard to keep track of if teleports and stuff are up necessarily, but like, got no mid lane priority, your Victor's in base. You know, Ezreal still has a couple more minions to clear out, so he's going to be a little bit longer coming up to here. Your top laner hasn't got teleport, so if the enemy has teleport, then, you know, you're going to be... basically, everything is against you here. Like, I wouldn't even bother looking at this. Your jungler shouldn't be either. Okay. Yeah, and there's your teleport. In this situation, you're looking to disengage as much as possible and looking for as clean of an ult as you can get. I think you can play it like back as much as possible here still though. W, I'm just checking your power chord here. I think you do Q. Yeah, I was going to say you do Q power chord there too. Has to be a W or an E. I don't care really that much which one it is at this point in, but like definitely not a power chord Q. What happened with your ulti? I didn't actually see your ult go off. The skin's really hard to see spell effects. This is the new one, isn't it? Yeah, oh, he's not the best. Only clips the one. Teleport gets interrupted by... What the fuck? What the hell just happened there? I like your positioning though, where you are to where Hecarim is. You haven't really like stood in front of him the entire time. You've let him be the one in front. So I like your positioning where you actually are. I think that's another powered core Q though. You need to just be a little bit more aware about the power core Qs in team fights. So you've done 2 power chords in that team fight and both of them were Q. So just be really careful about that, okay? It's nice that you got the dragon and you got to kill off it. Like, that should never have happened. But yeah, I'd say your ulti could have been better. The power chords definitely need to be looked at there. Okay, like, you kind of got the same situation. Okay, you got a kill on their jungler. So you're probably not feeling as worried that, you know, that you don't have to worry about being ganked by the enemy jungler. But this Varus still has ulti. You're gonna literally end up in the same situation as last time if you're not careful. Like, I think because you've already used your ulti as well, you can't be moving up like this. Like, if Varus has ulti again and he ults you here, you die again, right? You got nothing to defend yourself with. They could probably hunt you down quite easily. Yeah, you just need to look for a recall, I think, soon. Get some more ward charges because you got no wards on the map. Like, you should be looking for a reset. After this wave, I would like to see you reset. There's no reason to. You're encouraging the Ezra here to push in, right? That Pokemania was good. Like, Varus is like really far away in order to even land an ulti. The Pokemania that was good. Here though, just go back, reset. It's fine. Just chill. It's gonna hit the turret. I feel like you're encouraging each other to go through. Can I reset without your AD carry? At this elo, 8 out of 10 all the time, like, if you go back and reset, the AD carry will join you. You'll be surprised how often the AD carry will join. I feel like I think like you're both of you looking at your gameplay are both for like kind of encouraging each other to push forward, if that makes sense. That's all you want to do after Drake after reset. It doesn't show that though in the gameplay, right? I'm watching your movement and stuff, and it's like you're being really aggressive with the poking, taking some risks in terms of like Varus still having ulti. And it's like you're playing on the same line as Ez. If you want to recall, you need to be behind your Ez. Even just like press your your recall button for like half a second and just like and see what Ez does. I think you'd be surprised how often the AD carry will join you, right? But because neither of you are recalling, it's like you kind of just. Yeah, it's just a little bit too much. Like here again, look. I mean, even here, like watch the movement of you and Ezra right here. Just watch the movement and tell me who is more wanting to stay in the lane than the other, right? After this wave is cleared, just watch the movement of both of you. See that? If you were to do that in one of the previous waves, Ezra was more likely to then join up with you and recall, right? Because you look like you were more than happy to stay in the lane, right? And carry on pushing and stuff like that. So it didn't. It may have been the case that you did want to reset and stuff, but it didn't show that in any of your gameplay then that you wanted to actually reset. It looked like you wanted to push in more. I mean, this is a nice, like, kind of, I mean, you could, I think either here is play is fine in terms of coming out base, going into mid or bot lane is fine. If you're going into mid hit to ward, I think that's good. That's fine. Ezra should be fine by himself, he's Ezra. I wouldn't stick around here for too long though, because it's like mid lane jungler versus mid lane support, and Sona isn't going to be able to help a huge amount here. So just staying here for, like, comfort warding is fine. Just don't commit to anything here though. This is a good play from set. Oh no. Man, you're ballsy even going in for that still. No. Wow, that was actually a really good play from the enemy team. And that was kind of good read from you two as well to go check that. That was... I'd say, like, as soon as you saw, like, Sejuani was looking for you to path over, I'd be noping out of that. I wouldn't even be testing this out. This is a really, really good setup by the enemy team, but I think, like, you should, as soon as you saw Sejuani there, I would be like, they know I'm coming. I don't need to get the fuck out of here. There's no way I should be there's no way you should path down here, because it's like Sejuani, if she has everything, throws her ulti and stuff and commits to you, it ends up in being a really, really tricky situation. I think you die. I don't know what happens after that, because you got they got a lot of mid lane priority here too, right? Cat's pushing in, Victor's gonna have to clear out this wave. Minio's already put himself in a good position, not necessarily know if he's there or not. Your bot lane's pushing as well. So if they actually engage on you here, like, look where Hecarim is, I think they kill you still. Like, you've identified their trap, but you're still willingly, like, walking into it. That was a really good play by the enemy team, though. Hey, Sin, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the Berry Bush. Yeah, it's good that you're in your defense there in terms of, like, expecting to probably be around that tri-brush. Just like you just need to be really careful there, right? Because I think at this point, like, the odds of Sejuani here are, like, pretty high and you know it, but I don't think you face check this and put the ward over, because it's just, well, it's just too deep in terms of what you can have control of, right? Like, I feel like if they once again just ulted you and then just threw everything on you, then they would have chugged a lot of summoners and stuff with you, and you'd be kind of screwed for the next couple of minutes. Yeah, like, you're literally playing with fire here. I get what you're trying to do here and trying to get wards and seeing, like, if it's okay, because you're going to be, like, in a weird spot here with the wave. Like, if Varus freezes this, then it's a really difficult situation, but you have no tri-brush priority. Your jungler's on the opposite side of the map. You're just going to have to take the CS hit, if there is going to be one. So, you're going to get a massive advantage up here with the Herald. You know, that's the trade-off for Sejuani spending a lot of time down here. Okay, so you just need to respect the fact that, you know, you're at a man disadvantage. You might just have to have stuff ready for a tower dive if that comes to that, and not use any flashes or ultis here, because if you want to, because what ends up happening, if they commit, which they should do, honestly, they really should be, they should have committed onto you twice here. You would have had to use your flash ulti, right? And you would be back in under the turret, and then there's not a huge amount stopping them from necessarily tower diving you with like Varus ulti and things like that. You have no disengage, and you would just die under the turret. And airs at this stage isn't going to be enough damage to even like offset that. Whereas if they try and dive you with your ulti up, and if you manage to catch Milio, and then it means that he can't ulti himself, then it ends up being a much spicier situation, and may even end up being in your favor. So you'd rather have your tools ready for a tower dive rather than no tools for the tower dive, right? So like if they have priority here, it's fine. Like it's fine. Let them have the priority here. Don't take any risk by even trying to ward this. You're winning. You're winning this. You're winning this. This is what you're getting for this. If they get nothing from this, then it's a win rate for your team. You're really just playing with fire, like. I don't like that. I really don't like that. I'm just trying to see what's going through your mind here. So you got Victor saying that he's teleporting down to bot sides, and you're thinking, okay, we need to get the play onto them before they do onto us, right? Like, I get the play and why you're doing it, but it's just... Like, look at the other side of the map, right? What we were talking about earlier. How you're getting free stuff here, right? You got a free Herald. Now, Hecarim's just popped it down top side. You're getting loads of stuff top. This is a huge dub for your team in terms of stuff. You don't need to commit that many resources down here. You really don't. You've already got 2 people top and it's a 2v1, right? It's just not worth the risk. It's just if you're winning on top, it's okay for the opposite side to be a little bit further behind, right? The whole point of when your junglers on the opposite side of the map is that you're playing more passively and making them commit resources to you and making those mistakes, right? And hey, no, thank you for the 18 month resub. Thank you very much. So that plays it's too forced because you got a massive advantage lead here. Like you can tell Herald's been popped. You're gonna get first turret. You're gonna, you know, maybe they get a kill top. You just gotta make it more difficult for them to go through. If you flash an ulti, that's most of your kit gone straight away, and then it's just like then everything else after that is just really, really forced, and then you're playing away from your turret, so you don't have your turret protection, and you're gonna be a teammate down because your jungler's not here. So it's just like just chill. You don't have to do anything here. But wait, if they don't attack like that and make Varus run, don't they just get dove? If they dive, then you got the turret. You still have your ulti to mass CC under turret. You got Victor teleporting down to help wave clear and stuff. I don't think they can tower dive. And if they do, it ends up being a much closer fight rather than just on the off chance like this random flash ulti makes out a play. Does that make sense? Like the problem here is as well. Okay. Like with the set of champions that we have here as well, it's just never going to work. Victor is too much of a scaling champion. Like his damage here is going to be shit. I can guarantee his damage here is going to be absolutely ass at this point in the game, right? Ezreal's the same. He needs items to get going. He's on what? Is he on Trinity Force? Which isn't too bad, but he still hasn't got his man immune completed. The Victor 0-3 and he's got Leandri's, right? If this was like for some reason, which it shouldn't ever be, like a Sona Samira's ass, but if this was a Samira and say this mid laner was like the Cat, for example, or a Zed, then maybe if they can get into position properly in time, that increases your chances of getting a random pick here, and then it denies any sort of tower dive situation, right? But because of the champions that you're playing with, it's just like you can't do that at all because it's just like you have nothing here The odds of you getting the pick, then bursting them down in time before Minnie comes back down with ulti and shields and you summon a heal, it's just so unlikely. And then it's also, you know, your jungler's topside, so you're not going to get your jungler protection if things go tits up when you do that. So we'll play out the fight and see what happens, but I mean, I don't like that at all. I don't think this is like something that you should be doing in your games. It's just not enough damage. And it's a lot of resources committed there too. You've used your flash, you've used your ulti. Ez had to use cleanse. Victor used teleport as well. And that probably gave you a lot of confidence as well, right? Because you got the Varus down low, but look what's lurking around the fucking corner. The difference is they have resources. Cat has ulti. Sejuani has ulti. If they play this right, yeah, like this is the turnaround I was telling you guys about, right? And I'd argue that was all set up because Sona's initiated this whole thing, and that's how it's kind of ended up. That is a horrible Varus recall though. Here, yeah, you can assist a little bit in terms of helping push in the lane, but you really need just to, yeah, if you can clear out these wards, it's great. And then you need to recall as quickly as possible though. Good. You need to clear out control ward, and then you just need to recall and get your own wards. Yes. Okay, good. What are we going for in terms of items? I knew this was gonna happen because I saw it in the match history, right? But I don't know about this tier build anymore on Sona. I used to go it with the Saris Embrace, and I think they're doing Echoes right. I don't know. I don't know if this is like the right build anymore, because I feel like tier just feels like takes too long to get going. I personally don't like it, but I'm not gonna argue much against it because I know that there will be a lot of divide in the Sona community about Saris Embrace or not, but I'm not a fan of it anymore. I'm just gonna watch you. So Mordekai's ulted. Dragon's getting low. You can see that they're committing. That Scion skin is so weird looking. Okay, I'm gonna make a suggestion here. I don't think you preemptively ult Cat. Like, you don't have enough burst damage on your team to burst down this Cat when she's stunned, right? I would prefer to see you use it to cancel her ulti. I'd wait, if I were you, I'd wait for her to go in and then ulti as quickly as possible. Does that make sense? I would get her to make her use her kit and then stun her, rather than stunning her. She's probably going to live, and then she's going to get to go in and just AoE for free if there's no one to interrupt. I think that would be a much better play. Yeah. You're saying I do pick up tier and I can spam W's easy to get my passive attacks, but I already build Serifs. Yeah, so I would actually suggest like just go like the fairy charms from the other items, because they got adjusted. You get more mana regeneration now from the other support items. So I would actually suggest that you just I don't know, I prefer just going into like, you know, Moonstone or whatever into another support item and just picking up like, I have like 3 fairy charms. It's like enough to mitigate the bonus of tier. Like tier doesn't give that much bonus, really. But that's why I'd be doing that. I'd be looking to stun the Cat when she goes in to interrupt her kit, rather than preemptively doing that. And if she doesn't commit, then you're looking for an ulti that's going to affect multiple targets. I think you did another power chord Q there. think you got power chord E ready. You do Q and then you do your auto attack. You got to be really careful about that. Yeah, I think you need to make sure you're paying attention to your passive stacking in team fights. Like, if you're not sure, just do W or E. Like, honestly, if you're really not sure, W or E, okay? Just never Q. Like, onwards past like minute 4 or 5, it's super duper duper rare that you're actually wanting to do a Q. I could understand like maybe if you end up doing one power chord Q in the out of both of those team fights combined, but doing 4 out of 4 or 5 out of 5 is too much. Because like you shouldn't, as I said, like, well, as I said, I didn't say it, but you are not maxing your Q right when you're playing Sona. You're maxing your W. The Q damage anyway is already going to be pretty bad. So like you're not actively like looking to do batch queuing in fights anyway. Like you're tapping it just to get into power chord stacking for something else for your W or your E. At that point in the game, right? Like in lane, yeah, power chord Q is fine because of the poke damage is actually reasonable. But once you start scaling up, and like, you just do WE if you're not sure. Okay, always WE. Enemy getting away, E. If they're committing for the fight, still do the W. Just try your best, honestly, to not bother just doing power chord Q because the additional bonus damage isn't that much at this point in the game anyway. Rarities most don't track their chords, yeah, and it's like literally the most important thing on Sona. Like Sona doesn't have a huge amount going to her. Her baseline playability is like pretty low, but like there's a huge difference between Sonas that just randomly just do power chords as opposed to doing the right power chords at the right time. Is getting 2 points early into Q better than max W? I don't think. Honestly, I think it doesn't really make any difference. I personally used to kind of do like 3 points in Q and Sona, but now I just only do 1 usually. I think it's just better just to do 1 point in Q and then max W, honestly. Like the additional damage that you're getting per point, like it's not. You're getting 30 damage and then +5 in the melody. It's not. You can max it after your W because E leveling is garbage, but yeah, I would just leave it at 1 point Q, honestly. And it's just for stacking spell feasts and mana flow band stacks. And for activating your other power chords. The thing is with the Sona game though, is like you have to be... I have to be so nitpicky about stuff compared to other champions because Sona on the whole is... She's the easiest support to play in the whole game, right? Apart from maybe Yumi. Like here, for example, just be really careful with your positioning. You don't need to be looking for Q harassment. I would say like here, there's no reason for you to be here. Right. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what you're doing here. Like I know I'm being like, maybe it seems like a little bit too harsh, but you just need to be looking at these situations but asking yourself like why you're standing here. Varus ulti, if you overstep like this, like, you know, if they full commit, maybe they have Sejuani waiting on a flank, then it's like you're fucked, right? There's no reason for you to stand here at all. It's not like, I mean, at this point you've already completed spell thieves, but you shouldn't even be doing this anyway to stack spell thieves. There's no reason for you to ever be in front like this. You're always playing at most in line with your AD carry, ideally behind your AD carry. Yeah, there's still no reason to do this. There's still no reason to do this. Just put the ward in the middle of the lane and then you can see what's going on back here rather than having to face check vision it, and then it's fine, right? Here again, kind of like posturing and stuff, looking to maybe like threaten the controlled, maybe, I don't know, but it's maybe going up to top lane. Top lane is already dead. Yeah. But you just have to be patient a lot of the time when playing Sona. That's a weird one. I mean, I guess you just deal 2 to people top. What power chord was that? That's so hard to tell. You did E. Okay, that's good. You did a good power chord there. I was gonna say, like, if you're gonna do an engage here, power chord E is the best here. Varus is slowed. It's a shame that, like, it was gonna be a double ult. I think you're going for a double ult then. Honestly, this Varus is just... Okay, I'm gonna be very blunt. I don't like this engage, and this Varus is an idiot, okay? Right, the only reason why you guys end up killing this Varus is just look at his pathing. He's having a stroke on the ground. Like, watch this Varus' pathing. What is he doing? He gets cleansed, but then what's he doing after this? Like, honestly, I get that you're kind of wanting to be active on the map and stuff, but this isn't a good play, I don't think. You just lost your top laner. You don't know where the enemy jungle is. It has moved off to necessarily. I guess you got okay vision here. It feels quite... I don't know, it just feels like you could get collapsed down here like really, really easily after you just lost your top laner and like their jungle, and you know the mid laner and their jungle's top. It just feels like this is too deep of a play, and you could easily once again have a man disadvantage. Like, look at what your jungler is, for example, as well. I just don't like this play. Does that make sense why I don't like this play? I just feel like you're just trying to be proactive or being proactive to play out of boredom. Yeah, I mean, you're playing Sona, so every game is kind of boring. Yeah, you just need, I don't know. It's yeah, you gotta kill. Yeah, it's just a kind of disrespect, but you might be able to get away with it. I think if you dive for cat, it's fine. Yeah. It's just, I think a lot of the plays that you're doing is just from literally boredom, as you're saying, right? I think I can tell in your gameplay, like there, for example, it just felt like you wanted to do something because you felt like you weren't doing anything. But that's the thing with Sona. It's just like, she does stuff when the enemy team generally commits to things, and then you're using your free exhaust, multi-ulti, just general buffing of your team once you get to like 2 items. It's like, it's pretty good. And this is why I don't like Seraphs on Sona, because it delays you from going for another aura item. I honestly think that Sona players need to stop going to Seraphs Embrace builds. I think go Moonstone, Shrilliers, or Echoes. It doesn't really matter too much which one of those you want to go for. And then get the earliest Staff of Flowing Water, right? I think Staff of Water, like giving everyone on your team a fuck ton of AP and stuff for free, rather than worrying about personal protection, because you're playing, most of the time you're having to play back anyway, and you really shouldn't be in kill range. The only reason why you should really be dying on Sona is because you overextended with a Q, you face checked a brush, or like the whole team has just decided to Giga Zerg for you in a team fight with assassins. And then at that point, there's not much you can do. But like Sona in general, like should be in theory one of the lowest death rates champions. And the deaths that you've had this game, and the potential deaths that you've had this game, are just like you just either disrespecting enemy ultis, or disrespecting enemy vision in this case, right? Just take the dubs where you are. Like, you know, in the bot lane situation, your jungle was doing stuff top, proactively doing the Herald. Yes, you're at a man disadvantage bot side, but it doesn't mean you should start making plays down there. If you are wanting to make a play, just make sure you got the right people around if you're going to do them. Like, if the Hecarim, if you were doing this play, right? If you're doing this play here, and say Hecarim was in this brush, I'd be like, yeah, fuck it, just go for it. Because by the time anyone can come and clear this up, like Hecarim will just zoom over these guys and kill them. But because your jungler is like nowhere near, it's just like, this makes this play like look fucking, honestly looks int to me. But the fact that it ends up being okay is kind of crazy to me. And I'll see the balls on you chase checking this brush is insane. A lot of bad things, bad choices and decisions she made, but you got rewarded for it, which I don't like. But yeah, I think if you're going to play Sona, I think you're just going to have to accept the fact that you're going to be bored and you're going to have to play back, and it's a lot of things that you're just going to have to watch. Sona's not the champion to constantly go looking for plays and crazy stuff. Like occasionally you can get a nice flashy, if you get a nice flashy multi-ulti off, and you got lots of AoE in your team, and your team's with you, then like this situation here, right? And you had more like better players with you, like the Hecarim, for example. Go for it. That's fine. I'd say that's fine. That's a fine risk because it's like you're catching off a squishy AD carry. You could potentially catch off like the mini with the ulti there as well, and it means that you have like actual proper backup for your play, right? Whereas that play, it's just like the Varus even died, right? Really. So yeah, it was just like you're getting rewarded a lot for honestly not great plays. I think you just need to understand Sona's job just a little bit more. I think the whole point you're playing Sona is to frustrate the enemy team, right? You're not playing Sona to be Tyler 1, flashy plays, mid or whatever, right? You're playing it just to chill. Calming down the situation and then frustrating the enemy team, making one of them overextend. You punishing them with power chord W, and then, you know, there are, as I said, there are small situations like maybe once in every 2 games where you can do like a flash multi-ulti with your team, doing a clusterfuck AoE on top. You catch out like 3 people with your ulti. You might end up dying for it, but you ended up getting 3 kills for it. Like that happens 1 in every 2, every 3 games potentially. Like you can wait for this situation, but those are like split second kind of like moments where you do make that play, right? But generally, Sona's pretty passive. You get in the poke in the lane, and that's really about it. I honestly think Sona picks up horrible support habits. I disagree to a certain extent. I think if you play Sona every single game, I think there are definitely mechanics that you're going to be missing out on, and especially in terms of like necessarily knowing when to be aggressive, because you're going to be more inclined to be playing passive on Sona. But I'd argue that most of deaths in League are mistakes because of you overextending or being somewhere where you shouldn't be, right? But yeah, as Snell said, it's going to teach you positioning like really, really fucking well, and it is a more boring sort of play style. Absolutely. Like, I would not want to watch Sona gameplay. Like, honestly, like if I was in a stream and some streamer was playing Sona, I'd be sleeping after 10 minutes, right? It is the most passive. It's like Janna is like passive generally kind of gameplay. I'd argue you probably play Janna a little bit more aggressive than Sona, but like it's generally sitting back. You're waiting for the enemy to make the mistake, and then you're then converting onto them. Yeah, you're not the one looking to be the carry, that's for sure. That's not the right support champion for that. I don't know how much else we're gonna get here from gameplay. Like here your positioning is much better, like you're playing back. You're playing, like your position here is fine. You're getting the power chords when you can. Here might be too deep though. I think you acknowledge that, you step back. Positioning here in this fight is better, like, and you lost the fight because of the overextension without your top laner. So then you just back off, right? You back off, you back off, you back off. No, you don't do this. Do you see anything wrong with this picture? You're in fucking Narnia. You should not be there. You're playing positioning wise like really well until whatever this is, okay? Like you don't have to do Q poke. You don't have to do any power core poke. You're at the back. You've already down Hecarim. You're down a Victor. Enemy team has 5 players up right now. You should not be standing there. Let's see what happens after this. Okay, you didn't get punished. Okay. Lucky. I don't know why you guys are forcing this so hard when it's 5v3 right now. Varus goes down. I'm watching your power chords here. I'm slowing it down because it's really difficult to see power chords and Sona on the skin. So you got power chord E right now. Do W. Okay, W good. Alright, it's fine. It's fine. Just get out. Power chord slow. You did a power chord Q. You do power chord slow there because you're chasing or like you're trying to disengage. I don't think you make it out though, right? Yeah, so you guys shouldn't be there in the first place. But can you see in that situation where it's just like you say you want to leave, but like I mean, you say you want to leave, but then you're like you are contributing to the fact that they're not leaving. Do you see that though? Like your positioning here is good. You identify it as too deep, a little bit too late though, but this is too deep. You shouldn't be here. I know you're trying to get an ulti in, but here you should be playing like here behind this Ezra at this point. There's no reason. The Spectre's dead. And then you just literally just leave the Ezra there, just walk all the way back out, stand here and start recalling. Like that fight is over. You've got outmanned. You got nothing for that, right? 2 of your teammates are dead. There's nothing that you can do on the map right now, right? Absolutely nothing. Cut your losses because it's over, right? Mordecai is nowhere near. It's done. Everything here is done. And here it looks like you kind of like backing off, but you should just recall. Honestly, just get the fuck out there. Do back pings. Just recall. Just get out. But then 2 seconds later, you're doing this. Like you're looking to poke and harass. Like there's no need to do power chord Q harassment or any power chord Q harassment at all at 24 minutes into the game, okay? Your damage is going to be ass. Like, what is the damage here? The damage was like what? Like probably like 50 damage or something, right? It's just not, there's no point. Just don't, you got to stop doing that. The only thing that you should be caring about is using your Q to rotate into W or E for power chords. Okay, good ward in the middle of the lane. I think it's okay to move up because you can already see there's like a lot of people up on the top side. Once again, you don't want to be at the front, you want to be at the back. Okay, good disengage ulti, but then you also need to be careful, like, yeah, I need to like, you know, I can't really do much. Another thing I'd be looking at as well, right, is that you're getting close now to your passive being complete. So even if at the Ezreal is on this HP, I'd be using my W just to top them up as much as possible just to get another stack so that you can then get 120, and then every time that you heal people after that or whatever, you get your ulti off a little bit off on cooldown. So just be like, you know, just use your W where you can in order to get the 120 stacks. Like here, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. What are you doing here? It is literally like you're getting bored of playing Sona, so you're just like, you're running it. But you two don't need to do anything here. You can't do anything here. Like, Sona's not the champion for this. Especially, you just also just use your ulti, right? You should not be here. Right, I'm 120 now. Recalling is a good idea. There's no objectives really to play around apart from Baron and maybe about 50 seconds. You're like, everyone's on the wrong side of the map here. But you just have to follow up whatever your team's doing. Like, Ez isn't here. Power core slow on the Sejuani is okay. You got your ulti back up now, so I'm looking for a defensive ulti. Maybe Cat looks to jump in or something. I'll be keeping my eye on that. Like, Cat is the one who's going to wreck you the most. Just careful of your mana a little bit. Just position here is much better, right? You're not in the front line. You're a bit further back. This is like better in terms of position, right? This is how you should be all the game. This is fine. You're at the back still. You're fine. Rotation. Don't do this by yourself. You can ping it. You can ping the top turret and say, look, we should push it in, which we probably should be. Don't move there by yourself, though. Okay? Like, your team is like going forward here. It's okay to ping it, try and identify the Sona and ping it, but like, don't just start wandering off there by yourself. Disengage, like, just go back out now. That's fine. Yep. Yep. Good, denying some of the jungle stuffs. Okay. I'd say just ult and move on. Right, now that Sejuani's already run away, just back away. Right? Sejuani's already turned 180 degrees. That's fine. She's disengaging. You can just disengage. You don't want to fight this. But there's no reason. There's just no reason to almost like BM power core, like to Q this Sejuani. There's no reason to do this, right? Like, your team's on Baron and you're moving, overextending forward there just to do a Q on Sejuani. There's just no need for it. Okay, if I were you, I'd just ult this Sejuani as quickly as possible. Okay, Mordekai's ulted it, which is even better. Now you're saving your ulti just in case they're looking to come in, like if it's a Cat ulti or something like that. Okay. Alright, I mean, you died, but you get to start. Like, that's when you want to use Sona ulti, right? The biggest threat is the Cat. She gets you in the end, but you get your ulti down first, so now she's stunned. But she can't use the resets. It's good. He died for it, but it's good. I guess that's the end of the game. That's a surrender. And we broke the game. Okay. But yeah, I mean, oops. Hopefully that kind of covers enough. I think there's a lot more play to Sona and that people realize, but yeah, it is a more boring enchanter to play. Like, if you want to be more proactive and aggressive, then maybe like you're taking something more like Nami or Soraka. But even then, like, even playing Soraka, for example, and trying to do Q harassment at 15 minutes into the game onwards like that, you can't do that. You have to wait for them to come to you, get a safer Q down, get the rejuvenation buff, and then heal someone else. So you just have to, be at the back. You can't ever be at the front, okay? You don't need to fish for Q poke at 25 minutes onto the game onto an enemy tank. Okay? Just always value your life more than anyone else. Use your ulti on key targets that need to be ultied, and sometimes you have to just let them jump first before you can ulti. Like in Cat's kit, for example, there's no point ulting her before she goes in, because by the time, if you can't kill her when she's stunned, then it's allowing her to shampoo in and then ulti. You need to cancel the ult. You need to cancel the ult as it's going on so it can't be reused again. So yeah, I think the it's very common practice though with Sona, right? In all the Sona coaching sessions I have, it's more severe than what you're doing though. Like, usually they Q poke and they don't fucking stop outside laning phase, and it's really annoying to see when certain players do that, because they're stuck in laning phase for the entirety of the game, right? They're feeling like they can go in, it's like 3 minutes into the game, I can Q and poke. And then they're treating it the same at 13 minutes, 30 minutes. Being at the front, trying to Q, get Q stacks. That mini game is over ages ago. Okay, once people start hitting level 6, that mini game for you hitting Qs is like nearly over, right? You can't, there's no reward for Q poking like that, okay? When you got your passive fully stacked, mana flow band fully stacked, when you've got your ward item fully completed, like there's no reason to Q, like to Q poke enemies, right? You're just using it to shift through to getting more power cord charges for your W or your E. So yeah, so just be more mindful about that when you're playing the game. Try not to get bored. Don't feel like you're doing stuff by not doing stuff, right? If you're making sure that you're in the right position in a fight, making them have to go really far a distance for them to be able to get to you, right? You're already doing your job, because at the back line you're doing a lot. You're giving everyone a lot of movement speed. You're giving everyone a decent chunk of shield, a decent chunk of heal, right? And some damage amp on your Q. And that, throughout a course of a fight, if it starts going on longer and longer and longer, the more and more value Sona has, right? If they have to go through multiple people to get to you and dive you, like that cat did, and then you ult her, the highest, say if it's like the highest kill assassin makes it to you, right? But then you ult them, you may die, but they die for it as well, right? It's hugely valuable for your team. I'd say that's worth it every single time. Because then that means that your AD carries free. If the enemy team only has one assassin, like they do in this game, cat dies for it, your AD carry is free to do whatever the fuck he likes, honestly. Like, your AD carry is unlocked and free, because that's the only person they're worried about on their team as well. So yeah. So you're doing your job by just tilting the enemy team. So just try not to get too frustrated. Try not to get too caught up in doing Q poke later on into the game. Play it back. Use your Q as rotational for doing your W or your E. I would urge you with that kind of playstyle as well to look more into doing no Ceres. Doing like a Moonstone or whatever, plus like you can still do Echoes or Trillias. But do look at doing like a Sulfur Flowing Water second item, because like the Ceres, by the time you buy Ceres, by the way, like even in the game here, like you're like, look at this is the problem I have with this build, right? Because it's like you're 20. I used to do this as well. You're 28 minutes into the game. You got 4 Drakes, right? A Baron. You still haven't got Ceres completed, right? It's such an expensive item, it just takes the piss. It's not, I don't think it's viable really. Whereas now here you would have had Staff of Flowing Water. You would be buffing your team up with a decent chunk of AP constantly the entire time, right? You're basically giving your team like death caps. Like a death cap additional value in gold. Or if, as long as your team is playing like as a group, like you're getting so much AP value there, it's kind of nuts. I think actually Staff of Flowing Water is probably one of the most underrated items in the game. So yeah, I would recommend you try that build and just play passive. Like then you wouldn't have to worry about, like, say if you had Zerath here, okay, that would have saved you against the cat, but you know, it costs so much money that you're not even gonna get that item until 30 minutes into the game anyway. And you're playing like a 1 item Sona. I don't like it at all. And then also you got no ward spaces here for control wards. I don't like the build overall. I would like you to try my suggestion for a few games and see how it feels.
Arenalia has added 5 to the berry bush.
Hey Aaron, thank you as well for the 5 gifted subs, much appreciated. Thank you. But hopefully it helps you out. It's not the easiest champion to coach on because it's a lot more passive. Like passive gameplay is harder to evaluate. So hopefully I've helped, at least. So yeah.